Well, youth, they say they are the leaders of tomorrow, but as far as the elections in Nigeria is concerned, the youths, they are actually taking the bull by the horn. Well, we are actually going to look at the readiness of the youth ahead of the 2023 election, and this morning we are privileged to be joined by two public affairs analysts who will be joining me to x-ray the front line of the youth readiness ahead of the 2023 election. From my immediate left is Michael Omomina. He's one of the National Youth Council leader in Edo State. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers out there. Nice meeting you.
All right, and from my extreme left is Ediaye Kemi Williams. He's a political analyst. Williams, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers. It's nice to be in the studio.
All right, let me just start with you, Williams. The election is just a few weeks away from now. Are the youth ready for this election?
Yes, they are fully ready from my assessments so far, from the turn-up of the registration, or the PVC registration. From the INEC analysis, you discover that this year's turnout for the registration was very, very impressive, because youths were a major part of the people that turned up. Almost 71.8% of the turn-up were majorly youths. You understand? So that shows that they are ready to exercise their franchise by voting in the next leaders come 2023.
Okay, but Michael, some people are of the opinion that these people who actually turned out in mass during the PVC registrations, they are jobless youths. They are people who doesn't really have anything to do. They are just few individuals, like 10 of them in a room, trying to use social media to manipulate others. What's your take on that?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think that position is not the true representation of what happened during the course of the INEC registration exercise. I think when you look at the society itself as it is at present, the reasonable youth does not need to be coerced to do the needful, because we are all yearning for change, and we're yearning for good governance, yearning for good representation. So I think the youth took it as opportunity that this is the right time for us to change the narrative, and in changing the narrative, we must be involved. And what can guarantee your involvement is the instrument of the voters' card, the PVC. So that is why they all came out en masse. So when people say they are jobless youth, I think I stand to disagree with that position, because that is not really the position of things. They came out willingly, without being coerced, without being forced, that yes, we want to do the needful. We want to ensure that we contribute to the election of come 2023 by having the rightful person in power, so that another 4 years there will be no need for us lamenting again. So that is what prompted the general enthusiasm of the youth in ensuring that they participate actively in this just concluded INEC registration.
But some are afraid because they feel like the massive participation we are having, it's as a fallout of the end-SARS movements. Yeah. And to an extent, they feel if they give this youth the opportunity, we might end up having another version of the end-SARS movement. Williams, what's your take on that?
The end-SARS actually was just a cry out that the police institutions should be reformed, especially the SARS, the anti-robbery squad. This unlawful embarrassment and even killings. During the process, we saw videos and records, all the stuff that would signify that, yes, even I myself, to some extent, I've been a victim. So it was just an honest cry that the police system should be reformed, not as if they just a protest without a direction. You understand? So now, if you now have the right means to exercise that your grievances, because now the election is your right, the lawful right to exercise whatsoever grievances you have. So now, since they didn't get it right at that time, I know the whole issue was hijacked, a lot of things went wrong, and then some killings which are yet to be verified or clarified to the public. And then now they are now turning out en masse to register. That shows that, yes, they want to use this opportunity to rewrite whatsoever that has been going on, to change the narrative and make sure that you elect leaders who will yield to their cry. You know, there were certain things that were submitted to the police, submitted to the president, tied to their welfare, the barracks and all those things, pattern of dressing, look into their salary structure. Because, you know, when you have people who are well catered for, especially our policemen, if you take care of them to some extent that is reasonable, they won't have any issue or reason to be harassing the public, harassing the citizens, whatsoever they are in a police checkpoint. You know, so now this is the right time to exercise your right, exercise your franchise of voting in right leaders, so that you will not be need for protest. You understand? So there will not be need for protest. Thank you very much.
Okay, talking about protest now, don't you think to an extent the youth might end up selling out? Michael, don't you think they might end up selling out?
Well, I think looking at the context of what we are looking at, you see, one of the challenges that we have always had over time is insincerity on the part of our youth. I am of the advocacy that if you say youth, if readiness for 2023, I'm really not seeing the possibility because of our perceived characters, because of our perceived behavior, because our perceived thinking. So I see possibility where an average youth will do the needful by supporting the best candidate to come into power. But issue of selling out, we cannot rule that out in politics.
Yes.
Because of the hunger in town, because of the high rate of joblessness,
yes,
because of the high rate of unemployment, because of the high rate of starvation. So you agree with me that putting all this into consideration, there is very high possibility of having some youth falling out of that their agitation.
Okay.
You understand? So there is clear belief that we will not have all of them now who are clamoring for change, who are clamoring for youth readiness. We want to take power to remain or stand the test of time when the election period fully comes.
Absolutely.
There will definitely there will be those that will fall aside.
Because to an extent,
Yes.
The concern of some Nigerians now is this: we as youth, we've always clamored for good leadership, and to an extent, some people feel this present administration has done well. Why some are of the opinion that this present administration, they have not really given their best in terms of dividends of democracy, and we still see youths vying or lending their voice to this crop of politicians that some youth feel they are of the old order that has destroyed democracy of this country. So do you still think we should still go with the old narrative? Let me come to Williams now.
You know, whatever you're seeing in that aspect, you know, there's no way you can take away party affiliations. You know, when you are in a party, I'm not talking about who will just look at the pressure and then you bat, you run to the next political party. I'm talking of people, even the youth, who are dogged and ready to support their party, even if it's perceived that the party is not doing well. You understand? So now, you cannot fault those set of youth because their allegiance is to their party. But when you talk about, if you know things are not done properly, things are not right, that's the way my brother here have stated earlier, because, you know, the high rate of joblessness, a lot of starvation. Look at the price of fuel now. A lot of youth are there planning their taxi, doing a lot of things, but they are all running on fuel. And if you look at since 3 days now, the road has been so clear, so empty because less vehicles.
Fuel scarcity is hitting us again.
So now these are all reasons for you to come out and say, okay, now from these people who are around campaigning, who is this person that I will vouch for, that this person will be able to look into this problem that we are facing, that we are passing through now? So that is the person that you go and vote for. But now you tying yourself to party affiliations is this: you ready to suffer for another 4 years, or you make things right? You understand? So now I'm trying to encourage the youth that no matter what you see, no matter the issue of party affiliation, no matter the inducing whatsoever in monetary form, please try and vote the right person.
So party affiliation should not determine the next
yes,
president
because
of the
now
country.
if you look at some leaders now who from all political parties, they'll be talking over time and be critically listening to them. Most of them are say, if not for being that I'm a political a member of so party, I would have worked for so person. So because they know, they understand that it's in issue like this, deciding leaders, party affiliation should not be put as a major criteria.
Okay, Michael, over time, religion has been a major challenge in this country. We are being divided on the line of religion. So should we now say that religion to an extent will determine who takes over the seat of power?
In this coming fourth election?
Yes, of course.
Well, it's not realistic, or it's not something that we should look into, because if you look at, we have, let me take a clear example, or kind of give you an analysis. If you go by religion, let's look at the Islamic religion,
yes,
or the Muslim people. If you look at them very well, they are one way. You hardly differentiate them from each other. And we know that in that same Islam,
in terms of denomination,
they still have some, at least, different beliefs right in there. But it's not too obvious or clear to the people out there. Then if you now come to our own side, the Christian religion, you see the division is just too much. It's on the high side, high level. And if we say, let us bring it into this next political dispensation, you agree with me?
But let's not rule out the traditional worshippers here now.
Yeah, yes, I agree. The traditional worshippers, okay, it's true. But if you want to
rule them out.
If we should not rule them out. If you look at it very well, I think it will not play out in this coming fourth election.
Okay.
Because looking at the various campaigns that is going on, we have Christians here and Muslim and traditional rulers here in this political party, likewise other political party. So what we should be clamoring for now, or what should be agitating for now, like he has said, is looking at the sometimes I don't even want to bother myself with the manifesto of the political parties.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's try to look at the antecedents of the individuals, where they are coming from, what have they done in the past.
So their track record is what we should be looking at.
That's what we should be looking at. If this candidate was able to do this while he was here as a politician, meaning if we give him this little opportunity, he can do more. Even in the Bible, God gave people 5 talents, 3 talents, and 1 talent, 2 talents and 1 talent. The one that who got the least among them messed up. You understand? So putting religious aside, let's look at the individual. What are they capable of doing? What track record do they have to give to us that we can really make reference to? I think we go like that, we are sure of having a good representation.
Among these candidates, Williams, some of them have been in power one time or the other, right? One was a vice president for 8 years, and he was he's also a businessman, and then we also have some that have been governors. Okay, among these candidates, do we have any that the youth can throw their weight behind, without mentioning names, Williams, without mentioning names? Do we have any that the youth can trust with their votes?
Yes, of course. As I've said earlier, I said categorically clear that you should take away party affiliations. Now they are going about campaigning, preaching to us, telling us what they are going to do. And as they are talking, you from there, you will be able to decide. Because one thing you must understand, that people are coming, there are some in power, and some they immediately pass, they've done their best and whatsoever. So from this judgment, from what you have been seeing and what they will say, merge everything together and use it to judge them. Then if you are not satisfied, then you go dig deep and look at their track records. Look at what the antecedents, what are the allegations against them. Because take it or leave it. If there are certain allegations against a man and he's coming back to please you, there's all tendencies that he will go back to what he has been used to doing, except you are in with him to some extent that he will not go and put you in process to trust him that he may change. Because over time, they said change is constant. It's only because you just decide one day and say, no, I'm not going to do whatever I say. Because we've seen that a lot of people have come, they campaign, and then when they're in power, they mess the whole thing, just the one we are in now. Because now you cannot verge. Because if you want me to analyze, there are some certain things that is going on that are not supposed to be.
But the government has done well.
Yes,
to an extent.
yeah, to an extent they've done well. But when they come back to campaign to you, you judge them according to what they've done and what is written on papers. And it's all there. The internet is there. You go dig in and see what is about them and what you don't like and what you like about them. They use these things to judge them. Now, you must understand that these people that are coming, you've been crying for let the youth take over, let the youth take over, let the youth are the future leaders. They've been preaching it. But look down, deep down, are they ready to leave power for the younger generation to come in? Will you not take that this is an opportunity for us to retire some of them so that the fresh hands can come in? Or will you say, okay, let's look at experience and let the old hands continue? So these are the things that are very dicey. Critically, you must analyze them and then pitch your tent whosoever you know that we deliver according to your analysis.
You share the same thought with him?
Yeah, I share the same thoughts with him, but I want to differ a little.
Okay.
Do we really have, or can we really have a politician that have been given the privilege to serve for a period of years, either 4 years or 3 years, without having something that people will use against him? Like he said just now that we look at the candidates, the one that we know.
He actually just shared his opinion.
Yes,
so
okay, good.
that is his opinion.
That is his opinion.
Yes.
From my own understanding, it is not possible to have a politician that people will not speak ill concerning as far as election matter is concerned.
Okay.
Because politics has a lot of things that are involved in it, both the written ones and the unwritten ones.
So it's practically impossible to get a clean politician.
Yes, it's practically impossible.
It's not possible.
It's not possible to
Okay.
get a clean politician. Clean without having, because the one that people are saying, oh, it's nice here, go to his local community. There are some people that will be speaking ill against him, speaking something negative concerning the person. But to now come back to your question, are the youth ready for this issue? Looking at the candidates on ground, that's what you ask yourself. Looking at the candidates that are, yes. With the handwriting on the wall, mene mene take care of a seed, you should know that there is a particular youth, that a particular candidate that falls between the bracket of youth that so many youths are clamoring for today.
I don't know. You are the one that said
yes,
it.
Yes, you don't know.
I don't know.
It's
You are
true.
saying it.
It's,
Okay.
it's on the page of newspaper. In
Okay.
fact, like when we try to make reference to EndSARS struggle just now,
Okay.
and he said that was what prompted a lot of persons to come up to say, yes, we want to. I was going through the street of Benin 1 or 2 weeks ago. You see the ovation, the way and manner people were clamoring. Go and register. This is our vote. This is where we are going to. I don't need to mention names.
No, we are not mentioning names.
Some persons really have, they are youth, both physically, youth at heart, even in their disposition, they are youth. And we have them also struggling for this power. And I know that an average youth will surely or definitely support such a candidate to come to power. Because when we say youth are the leaders of tomorrow, I keep asking myself, when will our tomorrow come? Tomorrow will never come, because the one you come, by the time we get to Friday now, we're talking about tomorrow.
So you are saying the youth should just forget about leadership in the country?
No, the youth should be should actively be involved.
Okay.
Presently, in my own definition, youth, not just leaders of tomorrow, youth are the active key actors of today, partners of today, and leaders of tomorrow. Because before we can become leader that people yearn for or people look up to, we still need some level of training. We still need some level of understanding to understand the system. Peter Obi today going for.
So to an extent, you are saying we don't have an experienced youth in the country that can pilot the affair of this nation.
I've not said so.
Okay.
There are lots of experienced youths in the country that can pilot the affairs of this country.
Okay.
And the reason why we call them experienced is because they have been tested and trusted in one area or the other.
Okay.
Maybe by virtue of occupying a particular position in either in the state government or even with the federal government. If you go to the society or go to the government today, we have a lot of youth who are currently in corridor of power today, and they are doing well. So the issue of having election and people are saying, oh, it must be these people that are full of age, the youth are not ready. That's not true. The youth are ready. If you give us opportunity to serve, we will do very well.
Okay.
And if you give some opportunity to also serve, I know there is definitely going to be, a lot of criticism.
All right, I'll come back to you. Let's quickly get to Williams. Williams, there's serious hunger in the land, and the economy is biting hard on everyone. Don't you think in the next election, there's tendency for youth to sell out in terms of vote buying, selling their vote, and throwing their weight behind candidates that they are not really interested in, but because of the hunger in the land, they might just sell out cheaply.
Now, I will start from the issue of selling out. Yes, definitely, one way or the other, you are going to have people who will sell out because of the current situation of the country. There's hunger in the land, and things are not selling well over time. Things are very expensive. Those are the things that them put it all together, the necessary need of a man. And these things are not readily available, and there you have that popular saying that election time is harvest time. So they go to the polling units, and then you see them in one corner or the other collecting money to vote for whoever that is giving them the money. Now, you must understand that this is another opportunity for you to exercise your franchise, deciding and electing leaders who you know will solve this problem that you are passing through currently. Now, you must understand that once you sell out, you are in for another 4 years of suffering. Now, you must understand this fact. Somebody spends money, and then you buy into it and you collect money. Then you must wait and let the person recoup their money before they will not start talking about you. But when you elect person who you know fully well that you didn't collect money from them, and then they are into power, you have all right to drag the person to anywhere, to any extent. Because once they come, you say, did you give me money? Did we go into any agreement that whatsoever? So you have a justified right to drag the person out, and then they will ask them to do what you want to do. Now, you must understand that vote buying is an offense, and vote selling is an offense.
Okay.
And once you get caught, you either pay a sum of almost 500,000. Last time I checked, almost 500,000, or you go in for the day 10. So these are the issues that you must understand. Even if they are going to do it in one way or the other that will look very tricky and corny or in a hiding place, just know that it's an offense. And when you get caught, you go in for it. And then you must understand that this is an opportunity for you, because we've been stressing it over time and we'll continue to stress it. The country is not telling well. Look at the price of fuel. 250 in some area, 210, 200 in some area, 195 in some area. Now the diesel is nothing to write home about. You understand? Gas is another issue. So these are the things that should be your propeller, that will prepare you to go and vote in the right leaders who, you know, as I've said earlier, suits your criteria, and you know that we go there and deliver according to what you know that they'll be doing and what we want to do.
Okay. Now, most of the presidential candidates, they are billionaires. Is it possible in the nearest future to have a youth who will show interest for the presidency and end up winning the election in the nearest future? Since it's obvious now that we might not have the youth have their way in the next election from your submission. So is there any possibility or tendency of having a youthful person in the helms of affair in the nearest future?
Thank you. They say there is nothing impossible to God.
Okay.
God can do everything. It's just quite unfortunate that our political system has become highly monetized, that no longer give room or opportunity for the youth to really strive politically. And looking at what we have now, a lot of youth are contesting this election in some political parties. But I ask you, how many of these youth are being heard in the society, despite their campaigns?
So they are being marginalized?
Yeah, not that they are being marginalized, but because the fund to propel that their political movements is not readily available. Even some youths now who are clamoring for youth come to power are not even willing to join forces with such persons, because they know very well they've nothing to, or no largesse to share.
Which one is largesse now? You need to educate us.
Yes, because they know there will be no money.
Okay.
No money.
So no largesse.
Yeah,
so
no money to get at the end of the day. So, but we are believing that with continuous conscientization, sensitization, awareness, we have been doing it. Even these ones I mentioned also boil down to what? To resources. So, but we will not stop at that level. We will continue to sensitize our friends, ourselves, our youth, that yes, we can have an election that will be devoid of, money bags. that with or without your having that huge amount of money, you can go and display. Those days when they are doing the local government election, maybe councillor, no matter the money you think an individual has, if that particular person is very popular in his domain, local domain, you stand the chances of getting the election. But today that doesn't play out. Today you must use your money to influence your election. And it has now gone deep into us that we are now living with that. It's not being part and parcel of us. That without money, no politician can move forward. So, like I said, there is nothing God cannot do. We are believing that if we continue to put our hands together and conscientize our people, in the nearest future, we shall get there. But we may not be able to start with the presidency. They say charity must begin at home.
So we should forget about the presidency.
No, I said we may not be able to start with that. We can start somewhere.
Okay.
We can start somewhere. Like today, we have some youth today who are governors of the states.
Okay.
We have some youth who are speakers. So when you just wake up, you say, I want to become the president of the country. I think there are some channels that you must follow. That will also help you to gather some political muscle,
willpower,
some political will, some financial will, so that when you are not aspiring, say let's go to presidency, you still have something, because you cannot rule out money from politics.
Okay, William Stock, do you agree with what he said?
No, this issue of money bags in politics is the reason why the electoral system is being slow to some extent. And I think it's high time for us to start turning a new leaf. You've seen a lot of people who complain that because of the money issue, I've not been able to, my interest has not been able to go through, I've not been able to skate through. Some even pulling out of political parties, going to where they are accepted and where the price tag is also lower. And that is the reason why you're having the low turn-up of youth in major positions. And I think if a political party continue like this, I think a lot of people with true intentions will be marginalized. But if they are ready, they must understand that no matter how you are going to be in power because of your money that you have, you will not be there forever. It's a true fact. But you must understand there is another issue, that this country should be developed, that this country should represent its true self. Nigeria is so blessed to the extent that countries are supposed to be leaning on us, not us leaning on countries. But because of how the political system is, that's why we have people with the true intention not coming up to come and pilot the affairs of the country. You understand? So now, we are just having leaders who are coming to come and see through their long desired ambitions. Tag, before I die, before whatsoever happens, I want to be the president, I want to be the Senate president, I want to be this of the country. Not coming in with clear blueprints that is going to channel the country to greater height. You understand? So I think now, that's why I always tell them, there are a lot of youth in different political parties, because probably they don't have that bulk of money, the money back to be in the mainstream media, go that extent to making people understand that. But just like I said, with time, we will start seeing these youth coming up, because definitely these bourgeois who control the resources in the immediate circle will not be there forever. And when they leave, the money is accumulated will definitely spread out to different locations. Either the one or two reason of non-proper upbringing, we've seen a lot of things happen before, and then the money will still go out one way or the other, and they will call back to the youth, and then we see that. Now, look at different countries now. Look at Emmanuel Macron, came up from France. Look at the current Sunak of Britain. Look at a lot of people who are in his cabinet, all young minds who are ready to deliver, take the country to greater heights. So I think it's high time Nigeria should start looking at this system instead of anticipating the money. But just as I said, because it's election time, it's harvest time. So they should try and take away that mentality, and then let's chant a way for properly that will take the country to a greater height.
Okay, Michael, I'm having a concern now. While Williams was talking, your facial expression shows that you concur with what he's saying, but when you're given the floor to talk, it's off the other side. But however, let's look at the National Youth Council now. There have been serious issues going on there, and they've had lots of disagreements for a while now. What could be the cause of these problems?
Well, I know we cannot be discussing youth readiness for 2023 without also talking about some, segments who are contributing.
Because the NYC,
is a major.
It's a leading voice.
One of the issues that we have had over time, I would say it's a systemic failure. Systemic failure in the sense that when you allow personal interest to override the general interest of a particular organization, you definitely agree with me that there is no way you can really achieve the aims and objectives of such an organization. There have been crises, and we have been able to manage the crisis so that it did not go out of proportion, despite the fact that it's still on the pages of, some people are still, getting wind of such information or such crisis. But the truth is that when the leader has a personal motive, has a personal interest, it will go a long way in destabilizing the system.
Okay.
Because when some of us entered or joined the National Youth Council, we went there with vigor, went there with great aspiration that yes, this is an organization where the voices of the youth can be heard. Because everything we are talking about today boils down to youth, their readiness.
Yes.
If at that microcosm, that smaller segment, we are able to do very well, be rest assured that when we get to the outer politics,
You will be unbeatable.
we'll be unbeatable. We have example of some individuals who are who have made waves in the society today. And if you cannot trace their track record without making reference to their involvement in the National Youth Council of Nigeria, both at the state level, local government level, even at the national level. So, but what we have seen of recent, just in the recent times now, is personal interests has really been the challenges that have really bedeviled the growth.
So this systemic failure now that you talked about, what do you think is the way out? As a leader, you were a two-time vice chairman.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'm trying my best and doing my best to ensure that these issues are critically, resolved. Because, like I said, in politics, I have this belief that they say there is no permanent enemy, not even no permanent friend.
Only permanent.
But only permanent
So the
interest.
NYC,
Yes.
is it a political movement? Is it a political movement?
It's NYC is supposed to be a pressure group. A pressure group that, that champion the cause
Of the youth.
of a better youth in the society. That's why I said it was a systemic failure. What gave birth to the systemic failure is not allowing the political involvement to becloud the sense of reasoning of some group of persons. Now align,
organization.
yes, in the organization. Now align the political system of Nigeria. Say the way they are doing it in Nigeria, in Edo State, the way the government is doing it in Edo State, let me also see if I can do the same thing. It ought not to be so. Looking at the Constitution of the National Council of Nigeria, it gives room for executive, not one man taking decision. Everybody comes together as executive, we look at the issue on ground, and we decide on what to do. But for some years now, you have now discovered that the powers of the council now rest on the shoulder of the chairman, of the number one. And that number one, he has the knife, he has the yam, he has the oil, he decides on what to do.
Whereby making other members voiceless.
Voiceless.
And helpless.
Helpless.
Okay.
So, if you say this is the direction we are going, for you, for your loyalty to be guaranteed, you have to follow.
So Williams, talking about loyalty in the NYC, how do we now start putting this thing to rest?
NYC is a body that's supposed to be harmonization, bringing the four geopolitical zone and and even religion and all things together. Because, for example, I serve in Akwa Ibom State, and just look at it from Edo State to Akwa Ibom State, a lot of things was like merging and then interfacing with each other. Now, as he was talking, I was able to detail some facts that the issue why they are having this National Youth Council issue is this, that we are trying to retire the old politicians. Before the youth can come in, you must retire the old politicians. And then I think there's lack of sensitization, because when you go there, you should not sell out. Don't allow the old budgets to penetrate. When they penetrate the council, things like this keep on happening. And this is the issue. So they must understand that if you must change the political system of seeing youths in power, even from that level of NYC and a lot of things, because that is the place where they are being groomed. Because it's a stage of bring up, trying to expose you to governmental issues, giving you leadership positions, trying to put things in order for the society and the community in particular to function. Now you must understand that positions like this are a means of, just like the NAS, positions like this are a means of place whereby we can penetrate national level to bring about this change, to spring up this change. So once you get there and you sell out, you allow the bourgeois who control the resources to buy you, then you will continue being their control. So whatever they dictate, whatever they say, that's what you do. So over time, there's no way we can emphasize it, but we'll keep emphasizing it. Okay. For you to be able to take this country as a youth, you in the positions of so, you must not sell out. Carry your people along and make sure that you come up with force. That force that they will not be able to break. Remember, you remember that the answers, let me just quickly, they target at headless movement. They were not able to penetrate just because they don't know who is sponsoring them. You don't know who is
and they had lots of sponsors.
Yes, they don't have leaders. So they could not detail. That was why it was difficult for them to penetrate into the issue. And then, unfortunately, it all ended the way it ended. So now, if you must do such things, you must come up together as a cord that cannot be broken by the political bourgeois, people who control the resources. Once you sustain that for a period of years, you will break through, and then before you know, you've retired the old politicians. All
right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking our time to be on the show. All right, this is how far we can go because we have the next segment coming up shortly. We've been talking with Williams Kemi and, of course, Michael Okute from the NYC. And these gentlemen have actually done well. We'll take a short break now. And when we're back, the second segment kicks off. Don't go nowhere.